if you focus on these things, then it'll make great improvement in your relationship.
You gotta know why you're standing at the plate. I'm amazed by the number of people who get distracted in life.
The tangible results that we saw, I felt like were immediate.
Every week, how do you get ready to make sure you make the most of your life?
He's very good at helping you through life in general.
Mark Evans offers practical biblical solutions for the problems and pressures in life.
Maybe it's not so much about changing jobs, it might be about making changes in you. People always want to know, how do I get to the next level in life? Because getting to the next level, frankly, means you're going to enjoy your life more, you're going to be more fulfilled, you're going to accomplish more of your God-given purpose. I'm Mark Evans. Thanks for joining me. I think for the next half hour, we're going to have a good time together because we're going to learn that to get the right answers in life, you've got to make sure you're asking the right questions. Asking the right questions is so important. I've been teaching through this series, How Do I Lead My Life? Meaning, I'm going to lead my life. I'm going to be in charge of my life, in charge of where it goes. So, as a believer, you want to make sure that I am allowing God to direct me. I'm not allowing other people, other things, other circumstances to take charge. And I've got to remember that asking questions is vital. That I don't just go by day to day, never really thinking about where I'm headed. So today, I'm asking the question, what do you see? I mean, when you look at your life, what do you see when you look in the mirror? Really, who is it that you're seeing, and are you seeing the person that you really want to be?
Last month, I was on a flight that was landing back in Little Rock, and we were told by the pilot, as we're making the final descent into Little Rock, we're going to go through some very thick clouds, and there's dense fog in Little Rock as we're landing. So he said we're thick clouds, low-lying clouds, dense fog. We're prepping to land, making the final descent, and I'm there in my seat, and I look out the window. Now, as you know, I'm on the seat on an aisle, okay? And the flight is not full, so there's a seat beside me, and then there's a lady sitting next to the window, and I look out the window, and you can't see anything. You know, you can't see anything. You can't see the wing of the plane. You can't see anything. Now, if you think about that just for a minute as you're flying, if I can't see, how can he see? You know? And it gets, frankly, a little on the scary side. But you know what I'm talking about, because that's very similar to how a lot of you live your life. Very similar to how a lot of you live your life. You're not seeing at all where you're going with your life. You're just going. You're at one of those intersections in your life, and you have to decide to work, to create, to try to reinvent yourself, maybe, into who you want to be. You've got to decide to work, to create, to reinvent yourself into who you really want to be, where you see your life going, where you know God wants your life to go. Not what everybody else wants your life to be, but what you want it to be. It takes a while to figure out who God made you to be. It just does. It takes a while to figure that out. So many people have attached onto you all of the labels of who they made you to be. So many people have attached onto you all of the things that they want you to be, how they want you to live your life. So it takes a while to remove all of those labels. It takes a lot of work to get all that stuff. You have to, you see, get beyond all of the labels that people put on you. Maybe people that are a part of your life for a long time. And they have put on you who you are supposed to be and how you're supposed to live your life for so long, you have just kind of inherited it. You may have people in your life who have taken you on so many guilt trips, you don't know how to live without being on a guilt trip. They have taken you repeatedly on these guilt trips, and as a result, this is the life that you have. Well, it's a new year. And it being a new year, why don't you start asking yourself some questions? Who am I? Apart from all of the approvals that other people have placed on you. Who are you apart from all of the labels that people place on you? Who is it that God made you to be? When you look in a mirror, what do you see? Now be honest, okay? Don't lie. Be honest, be realistic. Let me give you what I call a lead my life lesson. It's right there at the top of your notes. Here's a lead my life lesson. You don't see it when you're in it. You don't see it when you're in it.
Visit PastorMarkEvans.com for Mark's special TV offer. Download Mark Evans' entire book, When in Life Wisdom, 30 Days of Passion, Priority, and Purpose for only $10. Receive Part 1 of Mark Evans' Passion DVD series for only $15, normally $49.95, plus free shipping. Or download it to watch right away. For more books, audio CDs, DVDs, visit PastorMarkEvans.com or call 1-800-367-2870.
So a lot of times people look in the mirror and they refuse to be honest about what they see. You know, that person that you look at their life and you know they just perpetually lie to themselves because they can't be seeing what everybody else sees. But you know what I found to be the bigger deal? Is that a lot of times, if I were to be honest with myself, I'm that person. I have a tendency not to be honest about what I really see when I look in the mirror. You know, you get involved in a problem and you don't realize that you are the problem. Or you end up involved in life and life isn't going where you want it to go. And because it's not going where you want it to go, you start trying to blame other people, other things that have caused that to happen. You don't realize, it's because of me. And so, being honest about what you see in your life, think about that over these next few minutes. And are you taking time, the real time that's necessary to ask the right questions, to say, all right, what do I see in my life? And am I not just trying to get by, but am I being honest about the person that I'm seeing when I look in the mirror of my life? Think about that.
If I am going to lead my life and answer this question, what do I see? I must be able to, number one, see what to do. I must be able, number one, to see what to do. I've got to see what to do. And beside that, I want you to write this word correction. Just write the word correction. I've got to be able to see what to do. You need to be able to see your life and size up your life. I got to be able to see my life and size up my life. Look at verse 14 of Exodus 18. So when Moses' father-in-law, Jethro, underline that, saw all that he did for the people, he said, "What is this thing that you are doing for the people? Why do you alone sit and all the people stand before you from morning until evening?" And Moses said to his father-in-law, "Because the people have come to me to inquire of God. When they have a difficulty, they come to me, and I judge between one and another. And I make known the statutes of God and his laws." So Moses' father-in-law said to him, "The thing you do is not good." See, Moses saw only human needs. Jethro saw much deeper. Jethro corrected Moses' inclination to do everything himself. You know what Jethro was doing? Jethro was helping Moses multiply his talent, his ability, his skill, his purpose. The difference is this, y'all. The difference is between what we are good at and what we are good for. Hang with me here. The difference is what we are good at and what we are good for. You may be good at a lot of things. Those are your skills. But what you are good for is your purpose, your potential. Because just because you are good at something doesn't mean that's what you were put on the planet for. A good example would be for 20 plus years, as a career, I was a pastor to students. I know what to do when it comes to being a pastor to students, okay? But just because I am good at something doesn't mean at this stage of my life that is what I am good for. So you do not allow your life to be reduced down to just those things you're good at. Because God has put you on the planet for something you are good for that nobody else is good for. And that is your potential. Let me put it to you like this. Do you work at listening and responding to your instinct, to your intuition? Do you work at responding to your intuition when it comes to pursuing the purpose God has put before you? Do you step back and look at your life and then say, okay, this is how I'm going to proceed? What I want to do in this series is I want to help you think. I want to help you think because your life is precious. And I want this series here for you to strategize about your life. What you see in your life, where you're headed, and what you are doing. In 2016, I want to challenge you, don't use church just to deaden the pain of the failures of your life. Use church to empower you to live the life that God had put you on the planet for. Use church to help you to live out boldly what God has called you, put you on this planet to do. You see, what is happening here is that Moses is seeing, I got to see what to do. Then I'll be able, secondly, to see where to go. Then I'll be able to see where to go. Just like in the first word I had you write down was correction. Write this down, direction, beside point 2. I got to see where to go. I've got to have direction. You need to look at your life with the big picture in mind. Don't just look at what is here in front of you, but look at your life with the big picture in mind. See where you are right now and keep the focus to look ahead, to move forward. Take your life, y'all, and don't become consumed by just what you can see right in front of you. God's picture of what he is up to in your life is so much bigger. Look at what verse 18 says in Exodus 18. Jethro is telling Moses, both you and these people who are with you will surely wear yourselves out. For this thing is too much for you. You are not able to perform it by yourself. Jethro is telling Moses, if you don't change, you are going to blow up. Where you are headed is not where you want to go. Look at verse 23. If you do this thing, and God so commands you, then you will be able to endure. And all these people will also go to their place in peace. Circle peace there. See, Jethro's instincts are kicking in to help Moses see clearly because he tells him a key word there, peace. When you can see in your life where to go, when you begin to get some direction for your life, then peace becomes your friend. not something that is far away. You know, Moses, we started earlier, you know, and Moses, he doesn't have a name when we first meet him. Moses' name means drawn out. Now, think about that. His name, the word Moses, means drawn out. Pharaoh's daughter names him Moses. Drawn out. Life is a series of you being drawn out. Life is all about drawing you out of your fear, your insecurity, your small-mindedness. Life is about drawing you out of constantly living in safe places. By the way, your God-given purpose, your destiny is never found in safe places. Now, you might need to be in a safe place for a period of time in your life, but move on. Move on. Because when God is trying to draw you out, I can promise you one thing. You generally don't like it. You just don't like it. And because it's God growing you and pushing you and developing you so that you are able to, number 3, see how to get it done. So that you can see how to get it done. Right beside it, write this word, path. Path. Because what God wants to help you to do is to develop a path to get from where you are to where you need to go. Look at verse 20. Jethro outlines Moses' path perfectly, and you shall teach them the statutes and the laws, and show them the way in which they must walk, and the work they must do. Jethro tells Moses, here is the answer, here is the path for you. When Moses shared God's ways with the people, he was sharing the path for a whole new way of living, and that was Moses' heart. That was Moses' heart. That was what God had put into him. Value what God has put in your heart. Don't ignore it. Value it. Grow it. Develop what God has put in you. Because then your path will develop and God will order your steps. When you begin to value what God has put in you, because that's where your intuition and that's where your instinct will begin to thrive, when you utilize the resources that God has given you and the resources God has put in you. But you have to understand, in developing this path, you've got to be able to see who to get involved. Number 4, you've got to be able to see who to get involved. Key word here is connect. You've got to be able to see who to get involved. Jethro points out earlier in 18 who he needs to get involved, tells Moses, and Moses in verse 25 responds to seeing who to get involved, who to connect with. The Bible says in verse 25, and Moses chose able men out of all Israel, made them heads over the people, rulers of thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. The principle here is this: you need the support, the right support to empower your vision, to empower your dream, your idea, your path for 2016. You need to connect with people. Now hear me. You got to connect with people with similar instincts and similar intuition, but different talents. Similar heart, but different talents. Most people, what they do is they surround themselves with people that are just like them. And when you surround yourself with people that are just like you, your ideas die. People who are not just like you, they inspire you, they challenge you. And You don't have to connect with everybody. You just got to connect with the right somebody. And that's what makes all the difference. And when you start doing these things, then you will be able to see. Number 5, I'll be able to see myself for who I really am. I'll quit lying to myself. When I look in the mirror of my life, I'll begin to see myself for who I really am. When you begin to see yourself for who you really are, that is where confidence, it's a key word there, confidence, is born. When I see myself for who I really am, then I have confidence. All of this is about one thing. You have got to be able to read yourself. If you will be able to read yourself, then 2016, you will be able to accomplish all the things that God has before you in 2016. But for you to be able to read yourself, you got to be able to read yourself honestly. And I think the biggest hindrance to believers today, to Christians today, and let's don't talk about anywhere else. I think the biggest hindrance to people in our church, in Rock Creek today, too many people just lie to themselves. We just lie. We need to be able to read ourselves honestly. Because when I am able to read myself honestly and see myself for who I really am, then confidence in who God made me to be, that is where it will just not be born in my life, but it will thrive in my life. Jethro gave Moses insight into who he really was, because Moses' problem here in 18 is he's looking in a mirror, but he ain't seeing who he really is. Moses is lying to himself. So Jethro's got to come along and help him to see who he really is. Look at verse 24. So Moses heeded the voice of his father-in-law and did all that he had said. Verse 27 says, Then Moses let his father-in-law depart, and he went his way to his own land. Moses being able to get honest insights into his life really catapults him. Because from here on, Moses' life becomes next level living. Because he's able to look in the mirror and really hear, all right, this is who I really am. This is really what I'm all about. Y'all listen. You can't lie to yourself about who you are, where you are, or what you need to change. Changes are always challenging. They're always challenging. It takes courage to change. Because you react to certain things in certain ways in your life because you've done it for so long. And normally we react those certain ways and to certain things because we're always protecting ourselves from something. And so our natural inclination is to fight change. But when I see myself for who I really am, then I have confidence on a whole new level. That flight, as it was landing in Little Rock, clouds were so thick, the fog was dense, and you couldn't see anything at all from the window. Just about that time, as we got right into what I suspect would be the middle of the clouds, out of the air vents started coming what looks like smoke, okay? I knew it wasn't smoke. I've seen this happen many times on flights, but it looks like smoke. I knew it wasn't smoke, but the lady beside me did not understand that. She has a panicked look on her face. I can tell she is obviously concerned because you can't see anything outside that window. She looks up and sees the smoke coming out of the air vents, and what she thinks is smoke coming out of the air vents, and she looks at me and she says, "What is that?" Well, I couldn't figure right off the top of my head how to explain it to her. I said, "Well, I'm not sure. It'll be okay." She said, "Have you ever been on a plane before that crashed?" The captain comes on the sound system, and he explains I know I told you the clouds and the fog was going to be thick. You can't see anything out the window. We have the plane on autopilot flying us right now. And what you see coming out of the air vents is just condensation from the humidity, and it's not smoke. Everything is fine. And she relaxed. Everything was fine because she got a word from the captain. God has given you a new life. So quit replaying old ideas. Stop seeing things, stop seeing yourself the same old way. You got a word from the captain, holy God. See who he made you to be and pursue that.
Visit PastorMarkEvans.com for Mark's special TV offer. Download Mark Evans' entire book, When in Life Wisdom, 30 Days of Passion, Priority, and Purpose for only $10. Receive Part 1 of Mark Evans' Passion DVD series for only $15, normally $49.95, plus free shipping. Or download it to watch right away. For more books, audio CDs, DVDs, visit PastorMarkEvans.com or call 1-800-367-2870.
And so, what are you pursuing? That obviously becomes so important in your life. What are you pursuing? All of this we've talked about today is going to mean that you have to make some changes. It's just like shifting gears in your car. You know, if you've ever driven a car with manual transmission, you have to learn how to do the shift and hit the clutch just right. But you always have to go from first gear to second gear to third gear and so on. Have you ever driven one of those manual transmission cars and tried to go from first gear all the way to fourth gear or from first to third? What happens? Well, the car stalls, doesn't it? It stalls fast. That's exactly what happens in your life. When you try to not shift gears properly, not make the changes necessarily in the steps that you need to make them in. So think about that, especially over this next week. What are the changes you need to make in what you're pursuing with your life? And are they in order? Don't get ahead of yourself, but don't live life all the time from behind. That's so important. If you live here in Central Arkansas, come to the church at Rock Creek. We'd love to have you. We take Jesus as he is to people as they are. Sunday mornings, 9, 10:45, and 12:30, and Monday night at 7. Come see us.
I think anybody could get help from Mark Evans. I think that if you're not working towards improving your relationship, then you are losing ground.
I guess the biggest thing Mark's done for me is given me the critical thinking process for business and personal life to make life easier.